Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Mohd Hisyamuddin bin Mohd Zaidi and my student ID is 2020-971253.
And my name is Nurul Aqilah binti Kamaruddin, student ID 2020966409, and our respective supervisor, Dr. Azira binti Ayob. Welcome to our presentation to my panel and all my viewers. So today we are going to present about our Viva, that is social influencer factors that affect young adult buying behavior in Seremban. First, I'm going to start with the introduction. So the research background is, first, the study aims to determine the social influencer factors that influencing the young adult buying behavior. According to Stephen Zark 2020, influencer marketing has become one of the new marketing approach by many companies. Hence, people nowadays are all aware of social influencer and identity themselves as a part of key influencer. Developing country like Malaysia will stress more on the technology development. Therefore, it will indirectly encourage the growth of influencer marketing, especially for the business purposes. Thus, all the statements are being supported by most of the studies.
The first problem statement is the rising question whether influencer marketing could be trusted or not. Because of this reason, many of social influencers want to grab that opportunity by obtaining the fake followers on social media. This is fraud action might harm the influencer marketing and customer due to trustworthy issue that cause people not to believe and refer influencer opinion anymore. If they can lie about the followers, they might also lie about the product information. Next, the problem is some people assume that social influencer who have attractive personality can discourage customer towards the product or brands. Some celebrity or influencer with an attractive figure image to endorse a company's brand can lessen customer self-esteem. This is because the customer might feel those brands only match up with if they also have attractive looking like celebrities. Meanwhile, negative impression towards the influencer also affect that product and services they promote. The customer might look only at the endorser rather than the item, as they can focus too much on the personality. Lastly, the challenges of organization or advertising company as to search a celebrity who have personas of idol towards consumer and idol feeds for their product brands. Negative perception of consumer towards the product brands might be affected because of the mismatch between influencer and their product and services. It has become an issue whereby a company and organization to regulate the consumer personal interest which associate with their product brand to choose the best influencer for a right fit of social influencer endorsement concept.
We continue to the research question. The first question would be, are the source credibility factors contribute to the young adult's buying behavior? And secondly, is there any relationships between source attractiveness with young adult buying behavior? And thirdly, is the fit between the social influencer and product endorsement contribute to the young adult's buying behavior? Lastly, what are the most influential factors contributing to the young adult buying behavior? Next is the research objectives. The first objective would be to investigate the source credibility factors that contribute to the young adult's buying behavior. And secondly, to study the relationships between sources attractiveness with young adult buying behavior. Thirdly, to examine the fits between social influencer and product endorsement contribute to young adults buying behavior. Last but not least, to determine the most influential factors that contribute to young adults buying behavior. This study examined the theoreticals of social influencer factors that affect young adults' buying behavior. It presents the conceptual framework which states the social influencer factors that affect young adults' buying behavior in Seremban. That has connection with three independent variables, which is source credibility, source attractiveness, and the fit between social influencer and product endorsement towards young adult buying behavior in Seremban. First independent variable is source of credibility. So the hypothesis development that we have seen from the past research studies is the H0. There is no significant relationship between source credibility and the young adult's buying behavior. And the H1, there is a significant relationship between source credibility and young adult's buying behavior. And the second independent variable is source attractiveness. The hypothesis development that we have found is the H0. There is no significant relationship between source attractiveness and young adult's buying behavior. And the H1, there is significant relationship between source attractiveness and the young adult's buying behavior. Last but not least, for the third independent variables is the fit between the social influencer and the product they endorse. Now there is no significant relationships for the fit between the social influencer and the young adults buying behavior. And for the H1, there is a significant relationship between the fit of the social influencer and the product endorsement and the young adults buying behavior. To accomplish the goals of these investigations, a cross-sectional plan where quantitative strategy will be utilized. Additionally, the cross-sectional study is being utilized on the grounds that the information assortment will be gathered at a specific time to answer the entirety of the research destinations and the research questions. So, continuing to the unit analysis. The research likewise investigates the factors in affecting consumer behavior that aims young adult in Seremban. Consequently, the unit of this study is classified as individual by using the people unit, which is the youth in Seremban. They had different education levels and employment status.
According to the Department of Statistics Malaysia 2020, the number of young adult populated in Seremban is about 222,000. Researchers refer to the Critchley-Morgan table for deciding the sample size of the population. Hence, the researcher of this study will distribute 384 set of questionnaire to represent the whole population. Researcher decide to produce data that represent 95% confidence interval with 5% of margin error.
In this study, convenience sampling was used as sample technique. The convenience strategy will be used in this inquiry to separate the respondents from the general populations. Before being picked as respondents in this study, the respondents must meet one requirement. They must be the youth of young adults who lives in Seremban Negeri Sembilan. For the measurement, the Likert scale will be used with the measurement and for the data collections. The data of this research is gathered through the dispersions of questionnaire. The survey is set up in dual languages, which is English and Malay. The proposed questionnaire will be divided into 5 parts, namely Part A, Part B, Part C, Part D, Part E. Part A comprises of respondent segment profile, while Part B will contain of the dependent variable, which is the young adult buying behavior. Part C, Part D, and Part E will consist of 3 independent variables of this research. There are 6 to 8 questions asked for every part.
First, descriptive analysis. It is used in the Part A to determine the normal distribution of recurrent circulation and rate of dispersion, which mean and standard deviation. Next is Pearson correlation. Analysis in this study is to determine the relation and covariation between the young adult purchasing behavior and 3 hypotheses, which is source credibility, source attractiveness, and the fit between the influencer and the product endorsement. So the test will be performed at 5% or 1% significance level. Next, multiple linear regression analysis. In this study, when independent variables are correlated with the dependent variables, regression analysis is applied. The independent variables are all plugged into the same regression equation to see if there is a link.
So we continue to the findings, which is the majority of these surveys was answered by females, which is contribute to 55.9%, and the age majority is 21 to 22 years old, with 49.2%, and with the education levels, which is most of the respondents are having the bachelor's degree with 58.5%. So we continue to next, which is the marital status. So majority of the respondents is single with 88.9%, and for the occupations, which is most of them are students with 65.2%, and with next is follow influencers in social media platform, whether they follow or not. Majority of them, yes, they are answering yes, which is they follow the influencers. And we continue to the next, which is social media platform they use. Majority of them are using the Instagrams as their main social media platforms. And number 8 is the reasons why they follow the influencers is mostly its answer is to enjoy content for entertainment, which is contribute to 45.9%.
Next, I will explain about the main finding of this research. The first objective is to investigate the source credibility factor that contribute to the young adult buying behavior. Result from the survey shown R value is 0.830 by using Pearson correlation analysis. Therefore, the H0 hypothesis is rejected because p-value is smaller than 0.05. Therefore, there is positive relationship between the source credibility and young adult buying behavior. So, the second objective, which is to study the relationship between the source attractiveness with the young adult buying behavior, and also the third objective, which is to examine the fit between the influencer and the product endorsement, contribute to the young adult buying behavior, shown the same result as the both objective have significant relation with the dependent variables. So the fourth objective, which is different because use the multiple regression analysis. The R square for the model is 0.747, which indicate 74.7% of the dependent variable, which is young adult buying behavior, can be explained by the independent variables. The source credibility is the highest predictive variable of the young adult buying behavior in Seremban.
First are the roles of managerials. From a marketing perspective, this study gives marketers some things to think about when selecting a social media influencer for a certain campaign in order to get a competitive advantage in the market. Hence, selecting a social media influencer who could really captivate a chosen community and fascinate them with an attractive marketing message. Secondly, the roles of influencer itself. This thesis finding demonstrated that it is suggested that the influencer embrace their skills and appearance with their core audience. This study also provided the importance on how to be a successful influencer.
The first one is the limited sampling. Limited sampling refers to researchers' understanding of sample size and methodologies. Even though the study primarily focus on the behavior of youth, most of the respondents are students. To encounter this issue, this study should aim for equal different category of groups. Therefore, future researchers should take sample and distribute their survey evenly according in the study's title to make it more accurate and reliable. Next, data collection process is the second weakness of this research. COVID-19 pandemic is one of the obstacles that researchers encounter, and it has potential to lower the quality of the data collected in the study. The study reliability, however, was not jeopardized because of this. But this is not guarantee that the quality of the data acquired will be appropriate. The researcher should spending a few minutes explain the aim or method of the data gathering before conducting the data collection to avoid this issue. Finally, is a quantitative study finding were not comprehensive. The result from the research does not represent the respondent opinion. For example, the research survey was objective and respondents who only need to respond based on the question provided rather than adding their own ideas. Future researchers should apply such as interview, collect opinions. This is because it could possibly know what the respondent genuinely feel as useful insight.
In conclusion, this research provides insight into variables, source credibility, source of attractiveness, and the fit between social influencer and product endorsement that affect the young adult buying behavior in Seremban, Negeri Sembilan. The study's main objectives are met when all of the hypotheses indicate a substantial associations, significant relationships between the examined parameters and the young adult purchasing behavior. That's all from us. Thank you.